Well, hey friends, it's Natalie. So glad you stopped by to hang out with me today. We are cozying up on the front porch swing. It is a beautiful sunny October day. The weather is just absolutely lovely. And I thought that we could visit for a little bit. You know, I was filming a different video earlier this week, a decluttering video, which I will continue on working on that video, but I just got to a certain point where I was feeling like I just couldn't get my thoughts straight, and my emotions have been high this week with the heaviness in the news. And I find that when things are crazy in our world and sad and heavy, I tend to really draw in community and family. And so I thought that it would be nice to just get to know each other a little bit better. I asked for questions over on my Instagram and over on my Patreon so that I could share a little bit more about what you guys want to know about me, but I want to know about you. I don't want this to be one-sided. So go ahead and leave a comment, introduce yourself, tell me maybe how long you've been watching my channel. If you're brand new here, maybe this is the first video you've ever seen, I want to give you a warm welcome. I hope you enjoy some peacefulness here on this channel. You have found an amazing community here. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. This community is so diverse. And yet we all seem to come together and really support each other, and I appreciate that so very much. And I got some wonderful questions from you guys. Some of these are really lighthearted and fun. Others are about deeper topics, and I'm excited to dive in. Fanny Stayer says, do you ever feel lonely / afraid living on acreage? No, honestly, I don't. I know that some people might, especially if this is not a lifestyle that you are accustomed to. I definitely think that there would be an adjustment period. I do remember something like that when I was a kid, when my parents moved from a neighborhood setting with like a closer community to a few more acres. I was like 9 or 10 years old, and I do remember feeling like, oh wow, we're just out here. Weston and I were both raised on acreage, and it was in a setting much like this, in a very close area to where we live. And so we are used to the wildlife, the storms, the remoteness. As far as lonely goes, we in particular at this property live within quite a short distance relatively of just getting back into the greater community where our property is. So it's very easy to pop over and see friends and family, head to church, grocery shopping. To get good deals, we have to travel a little bit farther, but loneliness is not really something that we deal with out here. We are always getting together with family and friends. I got a few questions like this asking about renovations and remodeling stuff that we plan for our house and our property. Jen Ghost Lover says, what is next on renovations you and Weston are to do in or around the house? Love you so much. You're so sweet. Love you so much too, Jen. I think what's very next on the docket is doing the brick around our wood stove. It's almost time to start burning in our wood stove. It's almost cold enough. We haven't gotten our first frost yet here, and I think we have that project planned for either the last week of October, first week of November, around there. I'm really excited about getting that project done. We would like to do a refresh of the main bedroom, and then of course my office. That is something that has actually kind of grown in scope because we realized on that side of the house outside, we have a good amount of space that we can build sort of a private patio area just off of like the main bedroom suite that includes my office, and we would be putting in a door instead of the window that's in the office, so that of course increases the workload and the budget. So we're kind of pausing that. I wanted to get it done before the end of this year, but then when we had that idea, we realized probably best to get that all done in one fell swoop. That way we're not doubling the work that we have to do, and we can just kind of make it happen. Hopefully in 2024, but you know what? If it takes a couple more years or a few years after that, it's not really that much of a big deal to me. Avocado 85 says, do you have a Monica closet, cabinet, drawer, room? Yeah, I do. Doesn't everyone? I think we all do. the office for me is that space because we haven't built in any sort of cabinetry. I just have basic garage wire shelves in there to hold things, materials, hardware, tools, and stuff that we are sort of holding in there as we've done the renovations around the rest of the house. I'll be really happy to be able to pull that sort of thing out of that room because it's taking up space that I could be storing other stuff. And yeah, that room just kind of gets wild. It's where I do my video editing and computer work and stuff like that. And I really am looking forward to having a space that's just like calm and peaceful and orderly and looks really nice. Right now, it's the Monica closet. Okay, let's answer a question from my Patreon page. I'll go back and forth between Instagram and Patreon a little bit here. I put a little post out there asking for questions for this Q&A, and I will actually be doing a part 2 to this video as a Patreon exclusive. So if you're not subscribed over there, it's just $5 a month. I've kept it really affordable. It's just a really fun platform for me to share extra stuff that I wouldn't really want to post on my main YouTube channel, shorter videos, that sort of thing. And we've been having a lot of fun over there. So Linda Lewis says, how did you come to the decision to impart gentle motivation? I think that my content over the last almost 10 years that I've been making videos on YouTube has always had that vein of being someone like a buddy that you can work alongside with and just have sort of a hangout with and get that motivation to, hey, if she can do it, I can do it sort of thing. But I find myself feeling really overwhelmed by content. Not that there's anything wrong with it. No shade to other creators. We just have different personalities. And I feel like a lot of the time, like cleaning, organizing, decluttering content, homemaking content in general feels a little bit chaotic and a little high pressure. And as someone who has chronic pain, I deal with days where I have super low energy, but I still have to get stuff done because our house would completely fall apart. I have 3 kids that need food, and while they're getting more and more independent as they grow up, and I'm grateful for that, and I'm also getting better physically as I've grown up, I still want to meet people where they might be and sort of cater to the lowest energy of us and help people when they're getting that motivation to get up and clean and declutter and organize, to feel like if you need to take a break or if today's not a good day for it, that you're not getting some sort of guilt or FOMO, or that you are somehow less than on those days or whole seasons of life, that you aren't feeling like, yeah, let's do it. I have high energy days too, and there are some days when I get a ton of crap done. But there are so many factors in someone's life that can change how you feel on any given day, especially for women with that monthly cycle that we go through. It's just biology. And some days, you know, we're not feeling it. And that's why I want to just share that gentle motivation to go, if you can, let's do it. If you can't, just breathe. It's kind of actually what I'm doing now with this video. Like I said before, I was filming that decluttering video, and I'm needing a little bit of a reprieve and a little bit of just a visit, just a hangout. So on my Instagram, I let you guys know that if you put a heart in your question, in that little question box that I had on my story, that I would keep you anonymous when I featured your question. So that's why for some of these you don't see profile pictures or usernames. This person says, did I miss a fall favorites video from you? What are some things you're loving? I also got a couple of other questions saying, hey, do you have any favorites, current favorites? You did not miss a favorites video from me. I just didn't make one. I'm not the sort of person to just feature a bunch of random crap just because I'm making a favorites video. I make favorites videos as they come when I feel like I have a good enough amount of things that I've sort of been trying out and banking up over several months that I can feature in a video. I think by the time holiday season rolls around, I will have some favorites to feature, sort of like a gift guide or something like that. But currently I do have just a few favorites that would have made it into a fall favorites video had I made one. I'm gonna list them off to you guys really quick. I actually keep a note in my phone, and I'll have links in my description box if you guys wanna check any of these things out. No pressure at all. Right now it's all buy, 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 buy with Amazon Prime Day and everyone's Prime Day. It feels like every major store is doing something like that. So no pressure, but here you go. My robot vacuum mop. Oh my gosh. That little thing has changed my life. I'm not being dramatic when I say that. I love this thing so much. It is the closest I've ever gotten to the mother's biggest wish of being able to like multiply, clone ourselves. It's like I have another adult in the house that their one job is to keep my floors clean, and dude, this thing does an amazing job. And I've had it since June. I've used it almost every single day since then, multiple times a day. It has never once gotten stuck. I've had other robot vacuums before that's all they seem to do. Next thing on my list are my ginger and dandelion jeans. Oh my gosh. I talked about this in a recent video. They are the only pair of jeans that I can wear. I have tried so many different pairs of jeans that claim to have like a soft waistband. None of them have worked. I get abdominal migraines chronically, and one of my biggest triggers is waistbands. I have a C-section scar, a lot of scar tissue from my massive twins pregnancy, along with a hernia that can only be fixed surgically. I've done pelvic floor therapy, I've done ab rehab, and I swore off jeans for years because I just couldn't find any that worked until I tried the ginger and dandelion jeans. They're definitely more spendy, but they are a small business, and that's what they have to charge in order to stay afloat. So, and last but not least are my Trader Joe's fall time candles. How basic does that sound? But I love them. I've featured them, I think, in a favorites video several years ago back in our old house. The Honeycrisp apple is definitely my favorite, but the pumpkin one is really nice too. They're very affordable, and I rarely burn scented candles in my house. It's more of like a guest bathroom sort of thing. But these are the only scented candles that I have burned that don't give me a headache. So I'm not saying they're healthy. That's just my anecdotal experience. Noisy Girl says, what's your most dreaded cleaning task? Oh, hands down, the fridge. Oh my gosh, I hate cleaning out my fridge. And you know, I've tried to build the habit of weekly doing it or doing it whenever we get groceries. I'm actually better at cleaning our second fridge in our utility room, because that's where I store our factor meals that we get, the little meal kits that we get. And I've built a habit of just like cleaning it out and refreshing the stock that I have in there and wiping it down. But the fridge that I use most often, that guests see, the one in my kitchen, hot mess at all times. Over on Patreon, Amanda says, how do you organize the kiddos' toys and things? I love and appreciate you keep their rooms private and all that, but I would love some of your favorite items for them for organizing. So yeah, kids' toys has evolved over the years because the type of toy that they're into has really changed. My biggest advice for organizing and storing children's toys is to really focus on the macro categories. I would say keep your expectations realistic for what your kids can handle when it comes to cleaning up. Create kid-friendly systems, and the biggest way that I create kid-friendly systems is to keep things on a large level, so not organizing everything down to its littlest category. But if it's calico critters, clothing, critters themselves, the furniture, all in one bin. And if Haley gets to the point where she's like, you know what, I actually want the furniture separate from the critters, more power to her. She can take care of that, and she would be at that maturity level and that need to make that happen and then also maintain it going forward. Serena Rose 42 says, what is your best advice for a new mom? 20 weeks pregnant with my first. Oh, congratulations, Serena. That's so exciting. New mamas. I think my biggest piece of advice, just right off the top of my head, is you don't need all the stuff. You guys know me. I like to keep things simple in my life, but I think it is most beneficial during the newborn and infant stage, and then those good habits of keeping things more minimal and simple only continue to bring benefits and peace throughout the rest of your motherhood journey. But for new moms, man, I don't think marketing is more aggressive or, dare I say, predatory than when it's to first-time mamas. And that's really frustrating because first-time moms, they don't have the experience and the knowledge to know that's just extra. I don't need something with all the bells and whistles. This is not even something that would get used for more than, you know, a month or whatever it is, because you've never done it before. And so I feel like marketing companies really take advantage of that and just push, push, push. Back when Haley was a baby, I think I made a video about newborn must-haves and like the crap that you don't need. And over the years, like if I was to have another baby, I would probably simplify it even more than I did back almost 7 years ago. That's because the reality is babies don't need very much, especially in the early days. And if you're able to, and if you choose to breastfeed, you're already equipped with the plumbing for it anyway, so that's not really anything extra that you need to buy. And everything is gonna be very individual depending on medical needs or just individual tastes and preferences. So I would highly encourage you just to keep it simple and to get advice from other mamas in your life around you as to like what actually worked. I feel like, and I hate to bash my own industry, you guys know I'm kind of a misfit when it comes to the content creator world. I'm not constantly pushing links and products and stuff like that just because I don't think you need them. And so when you're getting your advice from people making newborn must-have lists and sharing TikToks and reels about like the best, latest, greatest Amazon baby finds that you absolutely need, I would be wary of that and take it with a grain of salt. Oh, would you look at that? It's delivery time. Hey there. Hello. Oh, those are my tulip bulbs. That's so exciting. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. What's up, Buttercup? Do you know what's in those boxes? That was just delivered.
I don't know what's in. How do I open it?
It's tulip bulbs. Isn't that exciting?
What's in that one?
The same, tulip bulbs.
I thought it would be something exciting.
That is exciting.
No, it's not.
Well, it will teach us to be really patient because we have to get those in the ground right now, like this week, before it gets frosty outside. And then guess what? Around your birthday and a little bit before that, we will have tulips and daffodils and crocuses. I wanted to do this last year, but I wasn't able to in time. Got them this year. You gonna hang out with me for a little bit? This is our favorite spot in the sunshine. Okay, on to more questions. Lindsay Ford says, any fears as a homeschool mama? That's a great question. I think homeschool moms, just like any moms, have their fears that come and go. I've seen other homeschool moms share about, you know, fears about their kids maybe not adjusting to society or, you know, the whole socialization thing, which honestly has been debunked so many times. And honestly, there are parts of society that I am okay if my kids don't necessarily blend in with. It's okay if we stand out a little bit. But I've also seen moms share fears about like if their kids are getting an adequate education or fears of them falling behind and stuff like that. I don't really have those fears, and I'm grateful that I have a lot of peace in my heart about the direction that we've taken our kids' education, and honestly the fruits are showing, and I'm just so encouraged by the progress that we're making and how my kids are doing in spite of some learning challenges that we deal with, which is something that I actually completely keep private. But we do deal with some neurodiversity, I think that's the term. It is definitely a challenge sometimes. But we are rising above, and I'm very, very grateful. I think if there is a fear that I have, which I try not to have fear, I really try to just give that over to the Lord, because His word tells us that God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of what?
Power, love,
And a sound mind?
and a sound mind.
Power, love, and a sound mind. But if there is nervousness, it's just with state policy and with just like the government side of things. We live in a state that is pretty rigorous when it comes to homeschool laws, but so far so good. We also have many people who are personal friends of mine actually, who fight against that and who really fight for the parents' rights to be able to give their children an education at home. And no matter what your personal beliefs are about that, I think we can all agree that moms and dads really do know best for their children, and sometimes knowing best is sending your kid to school, public, private, charter, whatever, form that takes, or overseeing your children's education from home. And we hold that loosely. We know that at some point it actually might be a better choice for our kids to pick up a class here and there, especially in the high school years, and especially if they want to pursue subjects or levels of subjects that are higher than what I can teach. I am quite experienced with teaching high school math and science. I actually did it before I had kids, and so I am confident in my abilities up to a certain point. But if we have a kiddo who's really going for it, really striving for it, then oh my gosh, who are we to stand in their way? So I'm not concerned. I honestly don't have fear, because I know that God will always protect us and that He will always make a way, and that it might have to look different sometimes with the way that the world changes, but again, we hold it loosely. Lindsay Ford also asked another question. She said, totally random, but where will your chickens go when it snows? Into their coop. This coop was a secondhand from a person who lives in our general area. And she said that it was great in the winter time, kept chickens warm and dry. And chickens are actually really good at keeping each other warm. They huddle together on the coldest days. They share body heat. Are you gonna huddle together with me, share body heat? This sunshine is nice though. No wonder the kitties love this spot so much. I think we picked the perfect spot for this porch swing. But yeah, chickens are actually, extreme heat is more of a threat to chickens than extreme cold. And we will keep their water unfrozen. We actually have a warmer for their water dispensers. So as long as they have food, water, shelter to keep them dry, and each other to keep each other warm, they're good. And this coop is perfectly adequate for that. Tabitha 319 says, advice on building routines when chronic illness means your capacity changes day by day. Oh, I have been there. And if you, Tabitha, are dealing with chronic illness, and that's the reason why you asked this question, then my heart goes out to you. And because it is a really hard path to walk. On the good days when chronic illness and chronic pain is actually pretty low and you're feeling fine and you do have more energy, rather than just completely burning yourself out, look for ways where you can still implement times of rest. For me, a lot of my chronic illness is actually triggered by stress and by overdoing it. And so when I do feel good, rather than just killing myself over catching up and getting it all done and maybe doing extra so that the next time I'm feeling sick, a little bit more is done, I just kind of give myself that peace and that gentleness. Oh, those are so pretty. Thank you, baby. Oh, are these the wildflowers that we planted in the little butterfly garden? These are for baby Amelia. That's so sweet. Yeah, times of intentional rest, even on the good days, I feel like is a really good way to build in just a peaceful lifestyle, fosters health and healing. But I know that sometimes those flare-ups and those down times are really unavoidable. So again, my heart goes out to you if you're dealing with stuff like that, and anyone watching who deals with stuff like that. It's tough. It's so tough. I'm actually going to be talking a bit more in part 2 for the video going up on my Patreon about rest and an experience that I had with burnout. So stay tuned for that. I'll answer this one. Britt Nicole 85 says, what is something you look forward to every holiday season, something from your childhood? Well, I would say that actually a lot of what I still do to this day, for myself, for our family, for my own kids, goes back to what I did as a kid for the holiday season. So I don't know that I can pinpoint exactly one thing, because there are so many little special things, just all of those sensory things, like recipes that we make and music that we listen to and decorations that we put up. You know, if I could think of one thing, actually, it's a very special, it's the most special ornament that I have on our Christmas tree. I've shared it before on my channel. It is Little Boy Blue. It's actually a greeting card. It's not even Christmas. It's not a Christmas card. It's a little greeting card that my grandpa got from his favorite aunt, my Grandpa Gary, my mom's dad. So this was back in the 40s. He got it from his aunt and he cherished it. It's this sweet little card in the shape of a little boy, and he has a little blue feather, a real blue feather on his hat. It's very sweet and precious, and apparently it was my grandpa's like most prized possession, this little paper card. And my grandma, when they got married, she knew that it was so special to him, so she actually put it on the Christmas tree, kind of like an ornament. He just kind of sits on the tree. And then my mom, every year growing up with her and her siblings, it was on their Christmas tree every single year, and every year until they passed away. And I remember when my grandma would set up the Christmas tree before Thanksgiving, she most years had her Christmas tree up when we would go visit their house on Thanksgiving. It's not just YouTubers who set up their Christmas decor early. My grandma was setting up her Christmas tree and Christmas decor and lights and everything long before YouTube was ever a thing. But I remember on Thanksgiving, my sisters and I and my cousins, it was kind of like a game. Like, we'd go into Grandma and Grandpa's house straight to the Christmas tree, and we would look for where she sort of hid Little Boy Blue. Next to him, she would even pop out one of the clear lights and put in a little blue light bulb on her string of lights on the tree. It's just this very special thing. The one that I have for the tree is one that I found on eBay. It's the exact same card. It's not the exact one. I actually purchased it, I think it was the year my grandpa passed away, so that I would have it in memory of him. My grandma was still with us at the time, but I ended up buying one for my mom, and I believe one or two of my sisters who had families at the time, and it's very, very special. It's one of the very last things that goes up on my tree. And for me, just he goes up there and I look at him and I know everything is gonna be okay. Even if I am still grieving and still utterly missing my grandparents and who they were in my life and in our family's life. Definitely miss them. I don't want to end the video on a sad note. That is all I have time for today for this video. I'm glad I was able to get to quite a few questions here, but I do have more that I will be answering over in part 2. I'm going to warm up my coffee. Or maybe add some ice to it, because it's actually getting a bit toasty out here in the sunshine. It feels so nice. This might be one of the last sunny days we have before late March. It's nice to be able to chat and talk and get to know each other a little bit better. I can't wait to read your comments or your introductions of yourself. Tell me a little bit more about who you are and what you're up to. Let me know how I can pray for you. If you want to edit your comment or add a new one, yeah, let me know how I can be praying for you in this season. And I will be back to doing the decluttering after I just, you know, take this little breather, take this little breath. More on rest and all of that in part 2. So I'll see you over there. But thanks so much for spending a little part of your day here with me on my channel, and I'll catch you later.